Good evening, everyone. We'll be starting momentarily. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Bowie regular City Council meeting of Monday, September 16, 2024. It is now 8:02 p.m. All who are able to, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam City Clerk, for the record, could you acknowledge we have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor, we do have a quorum this evening. In council chambers, we have Councilmember Stev, Mayor Pro Tem Wolfley, Mayor Adams, Councilmember Brady, and Councilmember Ndebumalo.
At this time, I will open the floor to the council for any agenda additions, deletions, or amendments. Hearing none, we will move on to citizen participation.
There is no one signed up this evening, Mayor.
Thank you, City Clerk. We will now go on to presentations. The adoption and presentation of Proclamation P1324, congratulating the Bowie Crofton Garden Club on the occasion of their 40th anniversary. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. In discussion, hearing none, all in favor, please respond with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, if you would like to.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of the Garden Club members here, which only represents a fraction. The group started 40 years ago, and I think there were about 36, 37 members. Now we're up to 194. It's a meaningful part of our community, and it has provided tremendous value to us and our community. A couple things that just kind of leave you a little bit dumbfounded about the level of effort and contribution you've made. Over $32,000 in charitable contributions that the community has received as a part of your efforts. Year after year, plant sales, I know I've been a beneficiary of those as well. Lots of tomatoes that I've grown from starters that everybody else has provided. There have been 400 monthly educational programs. Absolutely remarkable. I still have a tree that we grafted, I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago, and I was shocked that it actually lived. I commend anybody who can teach me how to do something like that. And the food pantry, the work that has been done on the part of the food pantry support is just absolutely remarkable. We have 2,500 square feet of garden space that has provided thousands and thousands of dollars worth of food to our neighbors in need. So this is truly a remarkable organization, educational as well as contributing back to the community. And for that reason, we're here this evening to celebrate you and thank you very much for all that you've done. And I have a proclamation that I'll read on behalf of the council as a whole. Whereas the Bowie Crofton Garden Club aims to develop skills and promote interest in gardening through cooperation, joint efforts, and good fellowship. And whereas the Bowie Crofton Garden Club is a valued asset to the community and has played a significant role towards the beautification of our city by offering workshops, lectures, and time volunteered by members of the club. And whereas funds raised from the club's annual plant sale help to provide scholarships to University of Maryland College Park students, support and maintain the Bowie Interfaith Pantry Garden, maintain the planters at the Bowie Library, support local school gardens, and support road cleanup. Now therefore it be proclaimed that the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, hereby congratulates and commends the Bowie Crofton Garden Club for their 40th anniversary. and wishes them many, many more years of growth and success. Introduced and passed by the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, at our regular meeting on September 16, 2024, signed by Mayor Timothy J. Adams. Thank you very much. Why don't your club representatives come down here? Maybe we can get a picture for sharing in the news notes. Thank you.
Yeah, and you want to do the first. I'll call out who's gonna, instead of Tuesday, I'll call you up. Okay. And thank you again to everyone for your fine work and efforts. We will now move on to city boards and committees. Mr. Eric Kettering was interviewed on July 8, 2024 for appointment to the Bowie Advisory Planning Board. Council concurred to appoint him to the board as a regular member for a 2-year term. Councilmember Brady, would you make this appointment, please?
Yes, since I'm not the liaison, on behalf of our colleague, Councilman Truesdale, I would move to appoint Mr. Eric Kettling to the Bowie Advisory Planning Board.
Second.
It's moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. Next, Ms. Leslie Rose was interviewed on September 3rd, 2024 for appointment to the Arts Committee. Council concurred to appoint her to the committee as a regular member for a 2-year term. Councilmember Esteve, would you please make a motion at this time?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to move to appoint Ms. Leslie Rose to a 2-year term on the Arts Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. Ms. Darlene Stewart was interviewed on September 3rd, 2024, for appointment to the Ethics Commission. Council concurred to appoint her to the commission as an alternate member for a 2-year term. At this time, I would like to move to have her appointed.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. I would like for the three nominees to please come forward if you are here. Please line up.
Come right on down.
Yep. Stand there, yeah, that's fine. And would you please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name. Do swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and support the Constitution and laws thereof, and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of regular or alternate member of the, and state your committees. You were great up today. According to the Constitution and laws of this state. Congratulations. And here you go. All right, Eric. Please. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, I very much appreciate it.
And we do appreciate your service and your volunteerism.
Thank you.
Darlene?
Now y'all know I do fist bumps.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. All right.
It's a lot of hands.
And Miss Leslie Rose. Here you go.
Thank you so much.
There we go. All right. All right. Hey, thank you all so very much. What are you doing now? All right. Again, I would just like to say thank you again for all of you that we've talked about so far, from the working with us in the city, the volunteerism that we have. I think that's one of the things that truly distinguishes us as a community from many others. So again, thank you all so very much. And I'm going to give you another round of applause. All right. We will now move on to council announcements. I will open the floor to anyone if they have one first. Mayor Pro Tem, and then I will go to Councilwoman Ndubamadu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and this is really a go-back, since I failed to mention this earlier. I want to go back and revisit the subject of the Garden Club. There is a little festivity, which is a week from tomorrow at the Senior Center, 7 o'clock. That's our regularly scheduled meeting there. The city is doing a lot to try and make better use of the senior center, and the Garden Club has been meeting there now for a little while. I don't know how long. But there is a meeting. It's a celebration, 40th anniversary, and they are looking for new members all the time. People are welcome to join, come and learn, come and teach. If you're an expert or a novice, it's a great community and a lot of engagement as well in the community. So I'll extend that and thank you for reminding me about that.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Ndubamadu.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, colleagues, city staff, city residents, and the best district, District 4. I have a couple of announcements. First, I want to start by apologizing for missing the last council hearing. I unfortunately fell ill and was not able to make it, so I do want to just state that publicly and just share why I wasn't at the last meeting. 4 announcements in particular that pertain to the broader city of Bowie as well as District 4 in particular. On August 26, we welcomed 100 164 new scholars to their brand new school, Friendship Aspire STEM Academy at Bowie, which Mayor Adams, myself, and Councilmember Dennis Brady were in attendance at our brand new school. They did open in their temporary location up in Upper Marlboro and are moving forward to base their permanent school location that hopefully will open in 2026 in District 4 in Southlake. So I do want to let the community know that it was a beautiful opening. The students were so excited to be at their brand new STEM school, and so were their parents. So I just want to congratulate us for supporting them, to seeing it to fruition, and just happy that we have a brand new school that's getting ready to open right in our backyard. So that's the first one. The second one was last week. I had the opportunity to present to the Greater Prince George's Business Roundtable, which our Mayor Adams is a wonderful member of, and share just some priorities and things that we're working on in the city of Bowie to other members that are part of the roundtable. Members include members like Luminous Healthcare, as well as other prominent businesses that are in the area, just to share more opportunities and ways to partner and support the city at large. So we had a really wonderful message that was very well received, and very excited about what we're doing here in the city of Bowie. The third update is I also had an opportunity to present alongside of our county executive, as well, our county executive was at the roundtable, sorry about that. I had an opportunity to be a part of and represent the city at the Prince George's County Innovation Working Group that is led by Delegate Jazz Lewis, who sits on our Appropriations Committee out in the State House. Delegate Jazz Lewis is particularly focused on a bill that's coming up next session that is called HB 306. The primary aim of this bill is to create a collaborative environment where entrepreneurs in Prince George's County can connect with angel investors. And so that the aim of that group is to establish a seed fund for those who are looking at starting new businesses. And so for basically any business that is nominated, that seed fund would allocate anywhere up to $30,000 to help you bring that idea to fruition. So I had an opportunity to represent the city, pretty much the only municipality that's actually a part of that working group, to then for Delegate Jazz Lewis to take those recommendation that this working group comes up with and implement them with HB 306. So that was a really great meeting, and we'll continue to see how things evolve there. And then the last update that I have that's pertinent to the city of Bowie, because you may find out on Politico, tomorrow I'll be presenting at Politico's AI and Tech Summit. As a lot of you know, the city of Bowie has a Smart Cities Working and Innovation, Smart Cities group that we implemented some time ago. I'll be presenting alongside of Secretary Mayorkas, who is the United States Department of Homeland Security Secretary, Senator Amy Klobuchar, as well as Lisa Montesio, who is our Deputy Attorney General for the United States Department of Justice, as well as Senator Mike Rounds, who chairs the Senate Artificial Intelligence Caucus. So I'll be there tomorrow. You might see updates in the news, just really talking about AI and how it's impacting local communities and just some other broader issues at large. So thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Those are all my announcements.
Thank you. Any other announcements? I would like to take a moment of personal privilege, an announcement at this time, regarding the passing of Lieutenant General Arthur J. Gregg. General Gregg was like a father to me, a mentor, and a friend to many, many people. For those who may not know, General Gregg was the first African-American three-star general in the United States Army. He was awarded numerous military decorations, including the Defense Distinguished Service Medal, the Army Distinguished Service Medal, the Legion of Merit with 2 oak leaf clusters, and the Meritorious Union Citation. In April of 2023, at the age of 94, Lieutenant General Gregg was honored with the renaming of Fort Lee to Fort Gregg Adams, making him the only living person to have a U.S. military installation named in their honor. This recognition reflects his groundbreaking contributions to the military and his dedication to advancing opportunities for African-American service members. If you would you please just take a moment of silence. Hey, thank you so very much. At this time, we will move on to the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. It's good to be back in person tonight. Of course, I kept it light for tonight, so we'll want to be okay. If you look at the tentative agenda, if we can keep that going, we'll be all right for the rest of the fall. I would like to make a couple of points. As the leader of 400-plus dedicated employees, I'd like to say that we continue to deliver seamless services to our residents in the area, historic properties, the police department, our streets division, our solid waste division, water systems, our utilities, our parks and recreations, our senior center, for which I was there last week, and very active organization. And of course, the code enforcement, code of compliance department that keeps our city pristine. And also, just to note that we do try to work on the esprit de corps, that's good military terminology for you, with our people and keep everybody happy. We're going to be having a staff golf tournament starting tomorrow. I'll be competing on Wednesday, of course, and we'll be, that's one of those things to make this a good place to work and to keep people motivated, and because we continue to try to deliver timely, accurate, and services with integrity to our residents. And of course, we have very demanding residents, so we have to work on that. But thank you very much, sir.
Along those lines, too, City Manager, I would like to say at this time, a hearty congratulations to the staff and all those involved in the International Festival this past weekend. I thought it turned out to be a great success. I thought it was important that all cultures had an opportunity to present and show, and just show what a melting pot we are here in the city of Bowie. And so I'd like to thank the staff. Again, they did a wonderful job with that and truly appreciate their efforts.
I'll pass that on, sir. We do execute events as well as any I've seen in my 28 years of doing this.
All right, thank you. We will now move on to the consent agenda. I will open the floor for motions.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. And our electronic voting. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. We will now move on to old business, the adoption of ordinance 0824, amending chapter 26 zoning, Article 2, Section 26 through 48, final decision of City Council of the Code of the City of Bowie to clarify the timing of actions required of the City Council regarding recommendations of the Advisory Planning Board.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is an ordinance that my colleague Karen Ruff has been working with Mr. Minor, the Planning Director, to make some very minor changes to Chapter 26, as indicated in the cover memorandum. There are generally clarifications that are proposed to be added to the existing language regarding appeals taken from the Advisory Planning Board and final decisions of the City Council. If you look at the ordinance, you will see that it does just that. The first addition of text on the second page is primarily a move of language that has been stricken in the beginning of subparagraph A for clarification. The primary substantive change in this ordinance appears at the end of that section, where it says failure of the City Council to act on the recommendation of the Advisory Planning Board within 60 days of receipt thereof shall result in the denial of the request. And that is simply to clarify what happens in the event that for some reason action hasn't taken, and to avoid unintentional approval of a request.
Just
At this point, I will
just one quick.
open
I'm sorry, just one quick question.
Oh, who?
Quick question. The changes were to bring us in compliance, correct?
Joe?
For the record, I'm Joe Minert, the City Planning Director. Yes, Councilman Wolfley, our ordinance was silent on this particular aspect of that appeal period, and so we needed to put something in there to match the way that other jurisdictions do it. And the county uses similar timeframes for things like special exceptions and detailed site plans, so we're following that same pattern.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Any questions? Hearing none, I will now declare the public hearing open. Do we have any?
No, Mayor, no one has signed up this evening and no comments were received via email.
At this time, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and we are eligible for action. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 0-8-24, amending Chapter 26 of zoning, Article 2, Section 26-48, final decision of City Council of the City Code of the City of Bowie to clarify the timing of actions required for the City Council regarding recommendations, the Advisory Planning Board.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. And there are electronic voting as well. The nays, the same favor. Hearing none, the motion carries. We will now move on to new business and the proposed Pin Oak Parkway Trail Extension feasibility study. Mr. Minert?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. I'm Joe Minert, the City Planning Director, here to discuss this item. This is an item being brought forward by staff. We provided some of the background in your memo that you have for tonight's meeting. There was a stakeholders meeting held for the Pin Oak Trail Extension Project earlier this year, and the map up on the screen shows the Woodmore Estates neighborhood, and right in the center of the map, the Dahlia Drive. Dahlia Drive is an extension of Pin Oak Parkway. So Pin Oak Parkway is off the map to the south, but it comes, our recommended trail system would use the road system of Pin Oak Parkway up to Dahlia Drive. And then the recommendation of our Public Works Department was that the trails should follow the existing Dahlia Drive to the cul-de-sac at its northern end. And then the trail project, extension project, would be built on park and planning property that would connect up to Mount Oak Road, and then following Mount Oak Road to Notting Hill Drive. And the stakeholders meeting was held in April. I believe Councilmember Rogers was in attendance at that meeting. We did hear a lot of concerns expressed by the residents with the alignment that I just described. What we realized was towards the end of the council's budget process this year was that we really needed to have an alternative analysis and a feasibility study done to provide for a selection of options which we would then share with the community in a future stakeholders meeting. We would then allow something to be selected in terms of the direction we would want to provide a consultant to do a design, because as council has approved the budget for this year, in the capital improvements program, there is design funding to hire a design firm to actually design a trail that would address the needs that we have, but we didn't want to spend the money on a design, in particular at the end of Dahlia Drive, if that was not going to be the alignment that the city would support. So we didn't have, the timing was such that we didn't have time to put something in the planning department's budget to hire a consultant to do a feasibility study and some preliminary engineering. And so in talking with the city manager, he believes that its funding could be used from the contingency for the reserve for contingency account. And we wanted to just share that with you, try to get council's consensus with moving forward in that direction so that we can then proceed with the capital project that was funded for this year. So we did get a proposal from a firm that in the amount of about $20,000, just over $20,000 to do the feasibility study. They would analyze a couple alternatives, and you can see on the map there that there are a couple of options in green connecting from Dolphin Way along the along the A44 right-of-way. That's a recommendation in the county's trails plan. And then there's another option running through additional parkland that's owned by either the county or Park and Plan, or the city or Park and Planning. So there's a couple of other more extensive trail alignments, and they may involve some environmental features that need to be worked around. We really haven't studied either of those alignments. The merit to the original alignment recommended by Public Works at the end of Dahlia Drive was that it was the shortest segment, the shortest route in terms of construction cost, and would be probably the most cost effective. So we have these options that we like to pursue and have evaluated professionally and have some preliminary engineering done so that we can then hand that off to Public Works and they can proceed with the capital program that you've already budgeted for. So we're just looking for council's concurrence. We wanted the opportunity to explain to you where we are and why we couldn't have asked for it in the planning department's budget, because by the time we realized that you were finished with your budget process. And so we're hoping to be able to move ahead with this year as opposed to waiting until next year's budget.
Okay.
So with that summary, I can take any questions council may have. We're just looking for your consensus to move forward or to hear that you have no objections to what we'd like to do.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for bringing that forward. Just again, always just for myself, a little housekeeping here. City manager, we could use the funds that we already have. We don't have to make any amendments to the budget or anything at this time.
No, sir, this is the reason the contingency fund exists. This is already an objective. You all have already given us this particular trail and this idea. We just need to get this feasibility study done to make sure that we present all the options to both the residents and you all before we move forward.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we
Yes,
had
sir.
that for the record, that was there. It sounds, personally, it sounds like a good option at this time as we look forward. I'd like to open it up to my council members as well for their thoughts. Council member Steve.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate the presentation, Mr. Minor. You filled in some gaps that I was missing from the homework. I'm very comfortable with this course of action. I understand the rationale. I got no objection at all. This has my support. I did just want to voice, a few residents did write in as individuals just expressing some concern that with the delay in moving forward that we decided on, council decided on, related to the Kent Hill improvements and so on, there's just some concern that we might be overreactive to certain concerns. I just wanted to say that out loud to let the folks know who wrote in that I did hear that. I do understand what folks are saying. I think this course of action makes sense. I agree with the recommendation. I did just want to voice that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just a quick follow-up on the issue of the feasibility study, the design work. Do we think we can get both the feasibility and the design work done within this fiscal year?
I believe that is possible as long as we are able to encumber the design funding before the end of the year, by June 30th. The work could actually take place after June 30th. So I think there would be enough time. The feasibility study is not going to take more than a month or so, and then we're going to come back to the community. We promised them a second stakeholders meeting. So we're talking about a window there of maybe 3 or 4 months, and then there'd be time to then move ahead and recommend or bid out the project for the end of this fiscal year.
And if you mean the project bid out for the design work?
The design work,
Okay,
yes.
gotcha. And with the design work, what's the original budget for the design work?
That was 129,000.
Okay.
It's in the CIP.
Yeah. So with that 129, do you think it matters which alternative is chosen? That is to say, if one of the longer routes is selected, would that be sufficient? That is to say, would the 129 be sufficient, or will we need to increase?
I would have to defer to Public Works, and they're not here. I think they got a cost estimate for the alignment that they preferred,
Sure.
which was the short one. So that I can try to find out that answer from them.
All right, very good. No, and I think this is good. And I do think putting ourselves in a position where we get back in front of our constituents in the soonest timeframe is great, and fully supportive of this effort. Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilman Brady?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to follow up along that line of question with regard to the schedule. My understanding from your comment was that it would probably take about 4 months to do the feasibility study. Is that correct, Mr. Minor?
Yes,
4 to 6 months?
believe it was 3 to 4 months, and then the additional time would be to meet with the stakeholders and then to come forward, brief the council on where we are. So the time window would probably be about 4 to 5 months.
And then the 129,000, is that for the design cost, or is that for anticipated build-out of the trail system?
The project is actually staged over 2 fiscal years, and so in the current fiscal year, the design work was to be done, and then in fiscal '26, the money was budgeted for construction.
Okay.
So you'd have another chance to look at that before you approve the budget for fiscal '26.
Okay. So the 129,000 is for the design?
Design only, yes.
Design and?
Design only.
Oh, design only, okay.
Yes.
And then next budget would be the cost of construction.
Yes, that's correct.
So that it seems to be all the ducks are lining up in a row appropriately. So I have no problems with that. I trust that the process that the staff takes will be very fruitful and come back in appropriate fashion with the correct information and move forward on it. Just one side note, when I was previously on the council and we were talking about this 10, 15 years or more, we kind of envisioned using the A44 right-of-way kind of as a spine for the trail system. Have we gotten away from that? Have we diverged from that thinking?
No, that's still something that we are pursuing, and every year the council writes the transportation priority list letter, and in part of the letter addresses trails, and we recommend that Park and Planning take the lead on that because a lot of that system is on Park and Planning land. And so it's not necessarily part of our trails plan because parts of it's in the city and parts of it are out of the city. So you have recommended during the budget process to the county on the Park and Planning budget that they take the lead for what we call the A44 Greenway project.
Would it be would it be helpful if we suggested they transfer the A44 right-of-way to the city to move it along the way we want it to be designed, or not?
Well, we're asking them to take the lead and actually be the funder of it. It's a big project. It would be have regional impact, something
Okay.
like the WB&A would. So I think it would be preferable to have them
Okay.
take the lead on it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions? Okay, general thoughts, if we can get a general consensus. Councilwoman Anthony, you good? Good. Councilman Brady, good? We're just moving forward? Moving forward? Well, you have the consensus to move forward.
Thank you very much, Council.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I will
Mr. Mayor?
entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make everybody's favorite motion, motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded.
It's amazing how that works out, huh?
Second. Any discussion?
It shows you how popular the motion was.
And that's it.
Any discussion? Well, I would like to say before we adjourn, again, thank you to all the citizens. Thank you for being here this evening and those online. But more importantly, thank you for your volunteerism. And as always, I say to you too, our volunteer fire department, is looking for some good men and women to assist our community. And so hopefully, if you can, family, friends, youth, encourage them to be a part of our volunteer fire department. And thank you very much. And with that, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
I wonder what the noise was.
Yeah. And you know what, team?